Hi, friends and family, and welcome back to the new series of Yapa Photo. It's almost summer, and school is over for many of us, and this is a perfect week to interview some friends who are also parents. Last week in my series, I interviewed two educators who talked about distance learning, and this week we're going to look at the other side of the spectrum, which are the working parents, and how did they manage the distance learning. I have two parents this week. I have Marina, who is in the South Loop in Chicago, and I have Anna, who is in the western suburbs. I'll let them introduce themselves. Bonjour, Marina.
Bonjour, Gigi. So hi, my name is Marina. So I work. I'm in sales, and I had to adapt to that new condition of working and taking care of my kids. So I have a 3.5-year-old and a 2-year-old, and one of them was going to a preschool program before the confinement, and I had to adapt with her being home and trying to continue teaching her a lot of stuff during that, and still working.
And both of your kids are very young, unlike Anna, who has 3 boys who are older. Hi, Anna. Can you introduce?
Hi. Yes, my name is Anna. I'm also a working mom. I'm a real estate attorney and a yoga instructor, and I have 3 boys, and they're a little older. They're 12, 10, and 7 this month.
Wow. Yes. Yes. So let's talk about distance learning. This is something so unexpected and unprecedented, and it started in March. So the big first question for you, working parent, how did your kids react to working from home, and what were the main challenges for you as parent, Marina? What were your main challenges for you as a working parent?
So the first challenge was to explain, because they're young, what was going on and why we couldn't go to school for Margot, why she couldn't see her friends, and try to find a way to explain to her what was going on and why we were all staying home. She couldn't have as well her nanny who takes care of her, pick her up at school, and take care of her in the afternoon. So I had to explain all of that to her. Luan, which is younger, she was like, okay, it's vacation, you're home, guys. So she didn't mind much. For Margot, it was more the challenge of understanding what was going on and putting new rules as well of the social distancing and why she couldn't see her friends next door. Learning with the mask and all of that. And after learning as well, so we did some Zoom with her class. So being patient enough to go through a half hour and even sometime an hour of class online with her teachers. And that was challenging for her, very challenging. And for us as well, trying to find ways to make her listen and do stuff with her teacher. So that was one of the biggest challenge.
And also because Margot is only 3.5, so her attention time is so short. And also you had to adjust the message that was age appropriate about what is COVID, what's the pandemic. How was your experience, Anna, having children who are older and were exposed to maybe a different kind of message? What were your challenges for older children?
Well, yes, initially they were, it was kind of an adventure. It was exciting to stay home and do school from home. But as the homework started revving up, the e-learning assignments, it was pretty overwhelming initially for them to get into a new routine, and having to keep on task and do their homework. And I had a lot of hands-on helping the younger two. The older, the 12-year-old's pretty self-sufficient at this point, but helping the elementary school kids was a little, it still is, we're still in school till the middle of this week. So it's been a challenge, and especially trying to get my own work done. That's, and for them to respect that time, keeping. Also, because the younger one finished his schoolwork a lot sooner than the older two, keeping him busy was and still is a challenge. And finding ways for him to sort of entertain himself. Sometimes I turn just dance videos on for him, or do Cosmic Kids yoga or something that will buy me some time so I can get my work done. And then a lot of the challenges are also just keeping track of all the technology, Zoom, and all the different platforms that their teachers send out. Many resources, which is wonderful, but it could be overwhelming as well, for not just for them but for us. So just trying to manage that time.
And I've been on that other side of the spectrum, because as a teacher, I was the one sending the homework. So I wanted to be also mindful of the burden that parents carry during that time. So last week we talked to teachers, and they all said that we didn't know if there was too much homework or not enough homework. Obviously, it's more of a burden, I think, for the younger children, because they kind of liable on parents to help them to get online. For a middle schooler, it's much easier. They are more independent. How did you tell your children? Did you tell them with age-appropriate words about the situation? What is the pandemic? What is the COVID? Did they ask questions about why they were staying home, Marina? I mean, I know that Margot and Juan are still young. Did they ask questions about what's...
Margot did. Margot did ask a lot of questions. She was just not understanding. Like, I had to explain what a virus is. I had to explain like the fact. So I didn't explain the word like pandemic, because it's not concrete for kids. So I had to explain with the age appropriate words. So what was a virus? How we get a virus? That some people actually die of it, so that's why we all have to be careful. Why she couldn't see her grandma, so that was another question for her. We plan to go to France, but I told her we might not be able to go to France this summer, and I was like trying for her to understand. So I looked a lot online for videos or like books I could find. So I found some like nice videos which were like very age appropriate, so she understood, and she still like now understands. She understands the use of the mask, and the youngest one, she doesn't care, so that was easy with her. She is like whatever, but yeah, I had to.
But I'm glad that you looked online, and I'm glad that you look for resources, Marina, to talk to your child and in an age-appropriate way. And did your boys ask why they had to wear a mask? What was the virus about? Did they show curiosity?
Oh, yes, a lot of curiosity. We talked about it a lot, many questions answered. We listened to some podcasts about it as well as a family, specifically that were for kids, explaining, what a virus is. And also, my husband's a healthcare worker, so that brought a whole, direct perspective to the equation. So they ask him a lot of questions. He's able to explain what he's looking and seeing on the front lines, and I think that gave them a lot of insight into the situation.
Well, that's a perfect segue to the next question, Anna. Having that your husband is also a physician, how did you guys work with your partner, with your spouse, to kind of manage the workload of the working parent having to deal with distance learning, Anna? With your husband being a physician and maybe working odd shift and being on the front line, how did you guys work as a team?
I mean, the schedule didn't change that much for us. Where his shift work, it always makes us need to be mindful of his schedule and kind of work around it. So the boys and I just kind of continued on the way, we normally do. But during this challenging time, a lot of, new fears and stressors, and we worked, we kind of had to support each other a lot more emotionally through this. And we tried to, as far as the homework, helping each other divvy up the task, the workload for the kids. So he would, he takes the math, his stronger suit, and I'll take the writing assignments, and we kind of, support each other and finding a balance there with the kids as far as e-learning goes. We've also been, trying to make meals last longer so we don't have to go shopping as much. So trying to be creative in the kitchen and resourceful and getting the kids involved, but also helping each other kind of stay, find creative solutions. And finally, I would say, especially during this time, we've really tried to respect each other's space, meaning whenever one of us needs that emotional break or physical break, or if I need to go for a walk in the woods and just, have some alone time because I'm with the kids and with, my work all the time. He respects that, and same for him when he needs, and he goes for a run and just tries to clear his head a little bit. So that's kind of how we've been trying to find a balance and support for each other.
I'm so glad that you mentioned also the me time. I mean, obviously you guys need to work as a team, but also me time is so important for your mental care. Marina, how was it to work with your spouse to make sure that your girls were healthy mentally and emotionally too?
So I think we kind of work the same way than Anna. So we did for us had to change a bit in our schedule. So we had to deal with not having our nanny. So that was something, because I would go to work in the morning. So my husband has a gym, actually 2 gyms in Chicago. So he works very early in the morning. He will come back around 9 a.m. Eat, see the girls, go back to work, and it's the same. I will take care of the kids in the evening. So morning and evening it would be me, but this time we had to be home all day. He had to adapt his work, so he did a lot of stuff online. Had to do classes for his clients, live class. So he would go, but he will come back, be mindful. So I could do my work. For the school, I had to do it. So she had a Zoom meeting every day at 9:30, and I had to do it because it's a French school, and because I'm French, it was easier. And she wanted me to do it with her as well. But he will try to adapt the schedule so I could have some work done. And I'm saying some work because I don't think we did a lot during that time. But as well, we tried to support each other emotionally because it was extremely stressful, especially with our gym being closed. And try to work around what was happening. And I think we did good, and we hope it doesn't come back just in the fall. That's all.
And I hear from both of you, communication is key between you and your partner, but also the children. And I think there's always a silver lining, kind of a positive coming of any unhappy event. So for both of you, what would you say was your silver lining? What did you learn from yourself, Anna, during that confinement time, being at home with your family? What did you learn from yourself as an individual, but also as a parent?
And I think the lessons will present themselves as we can reflect, further on out of this period. But a couple things I would say is that, and I talked to my kids about this question too, and their suggestion was that that we're more capable than maybe we think we are. So when we're more resilient, yes, and have greater potential than we think, because when we're posed with these challenges, we have no choice but to rise to the occasion. And the other thing that I would say that I've learned, and I knew this before, but I've practiced it a lot more during this time, I've just because of necessity, is that my mood and my attitude sets the stage for them. So when they're feeling overwhelmed and meltdowns over homework or whatever it may be, bickering with each other, just maybe tired of this whole situation, I've noticed that if I approach it, kind of calmly with a smile, it sort of diffuses the situation, and I noticed their reaction to it as well. So those are a couple things that I feel like I've learned about myself during this time.
Obviously, the energy that you spread is the energy that you receive back. So positive energy. I like to hear that. Marina, what did you learn about yourself as a parent during that difficult time?
So I knew I was being a parent, I was more patient, but it was a lot of patience, just being. So my 3.5, she's very, it's mommy, 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 more than my 2-year-old. And even with both of us being at home, she has a hard time adapting when like I had to work and do stuff. So I had to find the patience to really explain to her that it was like mommy had to work and we have to do this and we have to do that, and trying to find the right words to explain everything. So my patience, like I'm that, and like the strength as well, that with all the challenges, as I say, with a lot of stress, to not show that to the kids, and like take a breath and find a new way to organize my day. So I would always try to find, like, basically after they nap, like that was like where I would be 100% for them, and not just, you know, during the day I had to do my work. So there was a moment for them, a moment for us. And, but as soon as they would wake up from their nap, it was like 100% for you. We do whatever you want. So we would go on walks, go play, and I would do everything for you. No phone, nothing. Just, so trying to do that for them. So yeah, patience, a lot of patience, and a strength that I realize we actually have, and it's good to know that.
Mm-hmm. And being a parent is the most difficult job in the world. I mean, you cannot learn on site, and there's no book that teaches you perfectly. So I think for me, my silver lining, it was to be kind with myself, and have realistic expectations that there's no perfection. And this is such an unprecedented time that there was nothing to compare. We had 48 hours to throw into the water and learn how to swim. Right. So looking forward to the summer, the schools is out, a lot of virtual camp, and kids at home. What are your words of advice for other parents? And what are you going to do this summer to entertain the kids, to find a balance for yourself, to still have them be active, but not lose your mind? What are you looking forward this summer, Anna?
It's true. My oldest is a swimmer, and all the pools are closed, so that's going to be a challenge. You know, finding the silver lining there, but we will do our best. I've you know, some of the things that we're doing is I encourage the kids to do, you know, gratitude practice, and talk about what they're thankful for, to keep sort of a positive perspective during the situation. And back to what you were saying, showing kindness towards yourself. One thing I wanted to mention is just recently the boys, you know, when I found them bickering and not being nice to each other, I introduced a kindness game that just off the fly, where I said, each time you give each other a compliment, you get a point. So that really turned things around quickly, and, you know, diffused the situation. And that was kind of fun for everyone to listen to the compliments or some words of kindness towards each other. Really shifted things quickly. And we'll do a lot of nature walks, things to do this summer. I mean, we're still trying to figure it out, but I've signed them up for some online classes, and we will do, you know, more Zoom meetings. One thing we've been doing with my youngest to keep him busy is, you know, Zooming with grandma, and she's helping to teach him Russian.
Oh, yeah.
So that's been kind of fun, giving him the opportunity to have quality time with her over Zoom, and, you know, and then also brush up on his Russian, learning little nursery rhymes, and keeping him occupied so that I can work.
I will need to talk to you about virtual camp, because Alex does not want to do virtual camp, so I don't know what's going on. It's hard.
I did sign up for some very part-time camps, actual in-person camps too. So we'll see how that goes, and you know, we'll still pursue that. But at this point, we are planning to. So we'll and they go on lots of bike rides. That's one other silver lining that I take away from this, is the boys, even though they haven't had time with their friends, they've really bonded as brothers, and every day is part of their routine. They go on a bike ride together and explore the neighborhood and just spend time together and get some of that energy out. And that's been a real blessing during this.
Marina, did you see your girls bonded more together because they were more at home? Like boys, what is the silver lining for you?
I will say yes and no. They are in the age where, like, they actually So with my little one, it's like monkey say, monkey do. It's exactly whatever Margot does, that's what she wants to do. So they fight a lot because they always want the same thing. And it's that age where like they're learning to share with each other. Before, Margot would go first and Luan was like, oh, okay. But now Luan is showing her personality and she's like, no, I'm not okay. I want exactly what you have and I want to do what you do. So, so they fight a little bit more than they used to, but they do play more and more together as well. The chance I have is my nanny came back, so I'm able to work more, and I think it's as well. So I saw during that quarantine, Margot was, and she's the one showing more because she's the oldest one. But being with my husband and I all the time, she would be more aggravated and like will answer back to us, which was not the case before. And now that my nanny came back, she's actually more, I will say, peaceful on that, where like I feel like it was too much for her, like too much stress having us all the time, and you know, always being a bit on her back because she's the oldest one. So even like if they fight, you always tell the oldest one, yeah, you should be kind with your sister, and she doesn't understand yet. And so having the nanny being back, I think made Margot like happier and seeing more people as well. So we're starting to as well, so what we're gonna do this summer is staying in the neighborhood. And she has one very good friend which lives next door, and she started seeing her again last week. And we're gonna, you know, they're just gonna go on little adventure with their nanny, do picnic and things like that. So that's the advantage of having small kids, is they're easy to entertain. You just take a scooter, a bike, like a baby pool, and they're happy, and you go on a picnic, and that's wonderful for them. So I'm not too worried for the summer, because where we live, I think it's great, and like you have a lot of possibility to do outdoor, and that's what they like to do no matter what.
Mm-hmm. And for Anna, because you're also a yoga teacher, did you rely more on meditation and your relaxation techniques to kind of help you to go through that, the fact that you have that knowledge too?
Yeah, absolutely. Oh, I think we lost her for a second. Yes, absolutely. And in fact, so definitely, like Marina said, the breathing, I've had to rely on my, breathing practice quite a bit. But also I've involved the boys in that. So we actually sit together and breathe, and sometimes just quietly meditate, just to calm ourselves at the end of the day. Not every day, but sometimes they even ask for it. And yesterday, my youngest and I did a yoga class together. So we definitely are trying to, incorporate some of those practices, and it's helpful. And actually, this is not related, Gigi, but something I just thought of yesterday. The boys, the younger two, were looking for something to do, and they're just milling around. So I gave them the job of weeding in the backyard.
Well, but easy to do
that's going to be something they'll probably do this summer and make $1, per little container, and keep them busy.
My first guest of that series it was Stephanie, and Stephanie is also a yoga teacher, and she gave a lot of techniques about breathing and meditation and how to release anxiety and find balance and be kind and gentle with ourselves. She talked about how to be grateful. So that would be a great way to end our conversation, Marina. What are you grateful? What are you blessed for? We're coming into the summer. When you think of yourself, what are you blessed for?
Everything in my life. So it was actually my birthday on Friday, and we had with everything happened, like we had a lot of stuff between the pandemic. We had like some issue, with the protests this weekend. Like we had like the gym damage. We had like some other stuff in my family where like it was a lot, and I'm blessed because I had my birthday first and foremost, and that's not the case for some people. And I have two beautiful little girls. We still have a business which is working well. I still have my job, which is the case for which is not the case for a lot of people as well. We in a city, the city like Chicago is I think wonderful city to live in the US. So I'm grateful for everything I have, my family, and the situation I'm at right now, because I am able to as well take distance and being like, even if we have our everyday stuff, everyday stress, like I know that comparing to many people, I have no reason in the world to complain about what's happening now.
Mm-hmm.
Simply that. So I'm grateful for the life I have, the husband I have, and my kids.
That's good. We take a step back and we enjoy the simple pleasures of life. Anna, what is your gratitude? What are you blessed for?
Yeah, no, absolutely. I can echo Marina's sentiments. I just grateful for my family and, you know, community, my friends, for being able to keep working during this time. Grateful, you know, for even for little things like the internet that keep us connected, you know, food, shelter. I mean, all that, for being able to take a walk in the woods. I'm just grateful for so much, and for my breath and our health. There's just a lot to be grateful for.
For me, it was, I feel it's almost a miracle that Alex and I haven't been sick. I've been taking the confinement very seriously, not going out a lot. So my physical care, my mental care has been the #1 priority. I'm very blessed also that I have a job that I love and I care for. Graduation was very bittersweet on Friday. Not being able to honor the graduates and have something that was virtual, but it's also the power of people. We are resilient in times like this where we have to be resourceful and more creative. You two are beautiful women, so resilient, so strong and independent, and I wanted to highlight you, to have uplifting profile. I thank you so much, Marina and Anna, for showing the care, the mental and emotional care with you and your family. Thank you so much for participating this week.
Thank you, Susie.
Thank you, Gigi.
I wish you a great summer in the city, in the suburbs, and I'm sure we'll be in touch again. Thank you so much. We will be back very soon for another Yapa Photo. Au revoir, à bientôt.